What is up, ladies? I am here to talk to you today about designing your suit for a competition. And there are so many factors that go into choosing a suit. That can be your, division, color, cut, how your physique is looking, everything, your height. So we're gonna talk about all that today, but before we jump into it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share this with your bikini bestie, and let's jump right into it. As we get started, I'm gonna throw it out there, full transparency. Those of you that follow me know I am a sales associate for Toxic Angelz Bikinis, so I'm not currently doing fittings. I used to do hundreds of these each year back in like 2020, 2021. Kind of started winding this down last year in 2022. I still work large events like the Arnold or the Olympia for Toxic Angelz. These are the only competition suits I've ever worn, so you can use code Laura. But you guys, you do not need to wear Toxic Angelz. You do not need to wear a specific brand. You can borrow a suit, you can rent a suit. So what we're gonna be talking about today is just in general, how do we choose a suit that's gonna help us look and do our best on stage? So the very first thing you need to consider is what division you're competing in, okay? So we have so many divisions nowadays as women. We have bikini, wellness, we have fitness, we have figure, we have women's physique, and even women's bodybuilding. So the cut of your suit has to match the division criteria. So that's the first thing you have to ensure, that you're gonna get a suit that matches the criteria of the division. Some cuts will work for both bikini and wellness, like the V-cut bottom. However, if you are wellness, you need that V-cut bottom, you need that pro cut in the back, and I'll touch on that in just a second. If you're a figure, women's physique, or bodybuilding, you need a two-piece suit that connects together in the back. And all of these rules and information is available on the NPC News website if you are competing in the NPC or the IFBB. Other divisions, other federations, or I should say other federations, may have their own criteria, so just make sure that you understand the rules and you know what specifications the suit has to be. The next thing right after the division that you need to consider is your budget, okay? So that's the very next thing. Do you have a budget for a suit, right? If you have no budget at all, let's say maybe you're in college or something like that, or you don't have a lot of money to spend on competing, you might need to figure out how to borrow a suit. Or you can go online like a site like Poshmark or something like that. There's a ton of bikinis on there now. So you need to figure out your budget. Obviously, if you're borrowing a suit from a friend and that friend is not charging you anything, that is a free bikini that you can use for your show. If you're gonna buy something brand new, a typical brand new bikini for the bikini division can be anywhere from $300–400 all the way to $1,200. Something from Toxic Angelz, depending on discount code sales, etc. If you get a fully blinged custom suit, somewhere between $300 to $600, maybe more than that if you have a lot of extras or a lot of accessories. And that is a pretty standard pricing. And I believe, not just because I wear them and I'm an athlete, but I truly believe these are the best suits out there. You can do the scratch test. These stones are not gonna come off. Very good quality. So you have to determine your budget. Some of these suit makers, for example, figure, women's physique, bodybuilding, those suits are more expensive. Your suit is probably gonna be more on the range of like $700 to maybe $1,400 for a brand new custom suit. So you have to budget for this. Some of these suit makers and websites will allow you to use services like Afterpay or Klarna or whatnot. However, my approach with competing is just make sure you're budgeting in advance, you've got the money saved, and you know that you can cover all of your competition expenses comfortably. So once you have your budget set, from there, the next thing I would encourage you to consider is the color of the suit. And these aren't actually even all of the swatches. These are most of the swatches that Toxic Angelz uses. And you can see how many color choices there are. There's literally every color under the sun in here. However, that doesn't mean that every single color will look best on you. So you really need to go with your coloring and understand what's gonna look best on you. Someone like myself, I'm fair-skinned. with dark hair. For me, the jewel tones, like you see on my rack, these are my suits. These are the colors that are usually gonna look best on me. Something with my skin tone and hair color, something like this yellow, is not gonna flatter me the best. I could do it, but it would be a little bit of a risk. Someone with a deeper complexion, however, is gonna have a little more contrast between the fabric color and their skin tone and could look really amazing on them. Same thing with like these lime greens or lighter colors. I also do typically recommend that you consider your hair color. That's a big factor into the equation, because when we are on stage and on show day, we're very spray tanned. So most of us, unless we have a very deep complexion, we're pretty orange. We kind of look like a Dorito. So your skin tone now is not your skin tone on stage, but your hair color will be your hair color. So unless you're planning to dye your hair or wear a wig, anticipate what your hair color will be. So for dark hair, I really love the jewel tones. And jewel tones pretty much look good on every hair color. The one exception is that, you know, if you are a redhead, I would say a red suit is a little bit of a risk. May not look the best on you just because it's a lot of warmth. The spray tan's warm, hair color's warm, suit is bright red. For those that are, say, blonde or have blonde highlights, blues and purples are gonna look really amazing, but you can also wear greens and reds. If you have kind of blonde, brown highlights, I personally always love to recommend things in the purples and blue family, because purple and blue are on the opposite end of the color wheel from yellow. And so the orange, you know, the kind of warm tones of the blonde, the cool tones of the blonde, both the brunette and blonde, you know, kind of color play, it's gonna pop and look really beautiful with a blue or a purple. You could also do a green, but again, there's so many variations of blonde hair and highlighted hair that you just wanna make sure it's gonna look nice. You know, if your hair is a little more warm, you know, certain shades of green may not look the best. So that's where working with a suit maker, doing a fitting can be really helpful. Working with your coach, making sure that your coach is on board with your color choice. And you guys, nowadays, we're not as limited. I think athletes have gotten a lot more experimental with color choices and things like that. For example, Marine Blanquisco, she won the Olympia last year in like this bright hollow fuchsia pink. And for a long time, pink was considered a, you know, a bad choice or a risky choice. And with her winning the Olympia in that, it's really opened up the field for all of us to start trying pink suits. And I actually think a color like this, pink, as long as you have dark enough stones on the suit, is gonna look really beautiful on most hair colors. So there's so many choices. You know, lighter colors, pastel colors, usually I say would look a little better on blondes because they've got lighter hair. There's enough contrast. Someone like myself with very, very dark hair, if I were to do a very light, you know, pastel color, it's almost a little too much contrast. And remember that with the color choice of the suit, you never want to go too light. I actually had a client last year who did the tricot lilac, and it actually, her feedback, she was blonde. Her feedback from the judges was she needed to do a darker color because the stage lights are so harsh. They wash out our skin tone, that's why we do the spray tan, and they wash out our suit colors to some extent. So you need a vibrant color. Her suit looked almost white, and her hair at the time was a very light, almost platinum blonde. So it looked like she kind of had a white suit on with white hair. There wasn't a lot of contrast. She might have looked a little bit more beautiful in maybe like a deeper fuchsia purple or something like that. So be really specific with the color choice, think it through with your coach. You know, look at other athletes that you see on stage that have similar looks to you, and that's really gonna help. Some other choices that you do have with the cuts and the tops, and I'm gonna talk more specific to bikini and wellness now, is you do have choices of more of a regular cut top like this one. You'll see it's kind of flat. And then nowadays, a lot of suit makers like Toxic Angelz and others are doing what's called a molded top. And I really love how this looks. So this was the suit I wore at Iron Games most recently. And you'll see that this one, it kind of looks like a push-up bra. It's very round, it's very structured. It's got a lot more just shape than a typical traditional bikini top. So whether you have implants or not, it's really gonna give you the most lift and roundness to your physique. So I personally love a molded top for anyone. I have implants, but Even if I didn't, I would still probably wear this because I feel like it does give you the most push up and shape and just a lot of nice roundness. And for bikini, especially bodybuilding, we love the look and the term you'll hear the judges say sometimes of like a bubbly physique or a round physique. You know, just having really round muscles, really bubbly looking muscles and a bubbly looking physique is very pretty. So if we can create a little extra roundness with our bikini, that looks great. So the other cuts and considerations you need to consider are specific to your body. We're all a little different. If you guys know me, you know I'm a little bit of a giraffe. I'm about 6 feet tall. And so there are, if you can see this, there are different front rises with our bikini bottoms. And so women, for example, who have had, say, a C-section or a tummy tuck, you would benefit from doing a little bit higher coverage in the front to cover up those scars, right? Someone like myself, I have not had a tummy tuck or a C-section, but I'm just so freaking tall that if I wear the regular bottoms, it's down to here on me. So I need to wear a little extra coverage. So I personally, I do extra high +2, which isn't even shown on here, very, very high, because I'm so tall and my torso is so long. So if you're someone who's short, you know, these lower coverages are gonna work for you. With Toxic Angelz specifically, we also have this high hip bottom, which means that the bottoms are shaped to come up nice and high on the hip bone. And we kind of compare these two high-rise jeans versus low-rise jeans. So you want them, in general now, the style for bikinis is nice and high up on the hip bone. So that's what most of us want. If you're below 5'4", you don't really need to do that. You can just get regular bottoms and those connectors will come up nice and high where they need to sit just because you are a more petite athlete. So that's something to consider. The other consideration is the cut of the bottoms. So depending on the federation you're in, if you're in the NPC IFBB, for amateur, that pro cut or the micro pro cut is gonna be standard. For these cuts with Toxic Angelz, this X micro, this tiny, tiny little one, this is just for pros because the NPC rules say you cannot wear a thong bottom on stage, and the X micro is basically a thong. However, if you do have the opportunity to try on a suit, that is the best option. I personally cannot wear the X micro. It's a little too small on me. I have to wear the Micro Pro, looks the best. So really learning what looks the best on your physique is important. And remember the division rules too. So if you are a wellness competitor, wellness bottoms have to be pro cut, meaning they are this cut right here, okay? They cannot be this small or this small, that is too much. If you compete in a natural drug-tested federation, some of these federations require more coverage, like a Brazilian or a mid coverage. So again, make sure you know what the rules and the guidelines are. So those are some of the considerations to think about. Oh, and then here's me, you guys. So one other consideration too, even without a molded top, there are different styles of the regular top. So for example, if you have a very long torso, Toxic Angelz has a cut called long slim. That's a little longer. It's gonna help shorten up the torso. Not as many athletes wear this. It's also really good for containing very large breasts. So if your breasts are so big that they really overpower your physique, this would be a great top for you. If you have a shorter torso or you don't have implants, you are smaller chested and you don't wanna go for a molded top, the regular top is great for those with short torsos. It's the shortest vertically. And then there's one in between that's a moderate slim. I love this one personally for those with implants who say do not want to do a molded top. For wellness athletes, you also have the option of doing a very European looking style bra top, which is, it's not the same as the molded. So wellness athletes, yes, you can wear molded, but the bra top is gonna be a little bit more of a demi cut, meaning it comes more horizontal and it's gonna push you up vertically just like a push-up bra. And that needs to be sized perfectly since it is a custom-made bra. And keep in mind, those of you that have competed before, you probably know that your breast size shrinks, your breasts shrink as you diet. So you have to kind of take that into account when you're choosing your suit. And then one of the last details and considerations to really think about is the connector and the connector size. So you'll see here, I have a few different ones like this one here. This was the suit I wore in 2022. I love this suit. You can find this on the Toxic Angelz website under code TU-003. You can see I had a very skinny connector. And my rationale last year was wear a smaller connector so that I physically looked bigger in comparison to my suit. So with the connectors, typically the smaller and more petite you are, the smaller and daintier you need to go with your connector. A very large, chunky connector is gonna overpower a very short or very petite athlete. The taller you are, the bigger you are as a person, the larger a connector you can wear. So you'll notice that some of my suits, I do have, maybe a larger, thicker, more decorative connector. This suit in particular, I have, I believe this is our TC17 chevron shaped connector here. And this one is really pretty, but this one can also be worn by more petite athletes. Someone like Jessica Wilson, who won the Masters Olympia, she wears this one as well on her mint green suit. So it just kind of depends. My coach Jamie recommended that I not do something so dainty as this one. So in my suits this year, my blue suit and my red suit, we went a little thicker with the connectors. So there's so many options. And then the last piece, which is really something to get guidance from your suit maker, your coach, whoever you're working with, are the stone colors. The stones really make a big difference in how the fabric in the suit looks on stage. Light stones will reflect the light, making the fabric in the suit lighter. So if this suit were to be completely covered in these light AB stones, it would actually look like a pastel red or a pink. It wouldn't look red. But this suit is covered in 90% red stones. So this suit is like cherry fire engine red on stage, which is exactly what we wanted. So don't forget that the stones make a big, big difference in how it looks. And if you guys need help, again, reach out to your suit maker, reach out to your coach, slide into my DMs. I'm happy to answer suit questions whenever. And I cannot recommend enough, get a fitting. If you can do a virtual fitting and an in-person fitting for a suit, that is the best case scenario, that you'll have something that's gonna be beautiful, that flatters your physique, and that you're gonna feel absolutely amazing in. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you have questions, again, DM me. This is really the fun part, picking out the suit. This is the fun part. It's so exciting, and it's kind of like Christmas morning when you get your brand new custom suit in the mail. So enjoy the process, enjoy picking it out, do research online. And again, if this was valuable for you guys, like the video, share it with your competition bestie, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next video.